Hi guys, how you going? Welcome to the channel, or if you're new, welcome. So today we're coming to you from the Maralinga nuclear testing facility in South Australia. So we've been here for the last couple of days and it's been absolutely fantastic. Super interesting. I had high expectations, but it sort of over-delivered. And one of the main reasons was obviously the staff and people here, but Robin is absolutely amazing. Such a wealth of knowledge, so many stories. Again, every question you asked, there was a story behind the story behind the story. It was just absolutely amazing. I'll take you for a bit of a quick tour through sort of what we've experienced over the last couple of days. And yeah, I won't show you everything, so it'll all be a bit of a surprise. And again, with Robin, ask him heaps and heaps of questions. Okay, so there is so much up there, it's not funny. All right, and again, to get here, I've also got a separate video which takes you through, again, coming off the Aya highway, sort of how to get here if the instructions are a little bit unsure that you've been given. So if you have a look at that, you'll get a sort of a visual view of what to expect along the journey here. But go back to the channel for that video. I'll set up a separate playlist on this one. And yeah, so by the end of this video, you'll get to sort of see what to expect when you're coming here. I can tell you straight off the bat, I'd highly recommend it. All right, let's go for a walk. All right, so first of all, straight away coming in, this is sort of the main road into the facility. And if you veer sort of off to the left-hand side here, these are some new buildings that have been added. So basically you've got two lots of shower and toilet blocks. There's a camp kitchen there. I'll give you a bit of a quick tour of them so you can know what to expect. And again, if you're coming in just with four-wheel drives and planning on sort of camping here, that's all sort of included. I think there's a variety of other packages with accommodation and whatnot. Again, very basic camp kitchen, but basically you're covered with nice big barbecue, running water in the sink. You've got power in these areas, i.e. all lights are all covered. And with the showers, you've got nice big sort of shower areas. Couple of showers in that block, and I think over in there as well, and toilets, and just a nice big undercover area inside. So no dramas, no clothesline around the back. This fire pit is absolutely epic. We had it roaring last night, and an abundance of firewood, obviously. So definitely worthwhile camping out here if you're after that sort of experience. But if you want something a little bit more luxurious, go check out the accommodation also. All right, now over off in the distance there, you'll see these strewn, especially as you're driving into the facility, these big massive water tanks. So that's sort of off in the distance there. Over through here. So there's a few sort of buildings that have been left, a few key buildings, and otherwise a lot of them you can see sort of the remnants from when they were basically destroyed and removed. Obviously a variety of reasons as to probably why. But it's good to see that they've maintained a few of the buildings here. Diesel, you cannot get diesel here. So make sure you, when you do come in, make sure you prepare yourself with enough fuel to get sort of in and out of the facility. I dare say these date back to the 50s and 60s, unless they've been updated, not quite sure. It's a bit hard to tell. There's no price per litres on these. Email electronics. So, God, they would have went through quite a bit of diesel out here. I mean, this facility, the fact that they got this entire facility, I think, built within, I think it was 16 or 18 months, is absolutely mind-boggling. And then over here, so we've got some remnants of, I have no idea. I can only hypothesize whether it's part of an aircraft or a dentist chair, who knows. And you've got this wing. And again, for all those aircraft boffins out there, let me know what aircraft this is from. I'm also going to try and get hold of a lot of the old footage here, and I'll post it to the channel. From back in the 50s and 60s, see if it's available. But yeah, So that's the wing. I think that's a wing. Don't quote me. Again, there was all sorts of probably experimental aircraft out here. But here's a bit of a sort of a close-up. A few markings there, if that means anything to anyone. Down there, Toro, TO30IXIB. No idea what that means. And then over here, some control equipment, control panels. Again, some sort of arming, whether or not this was for the atomic nuclear bombs. There's also a variety of machines here. And then this looks like some sort of plotting machine. Pretty cool. Pity it's out here in the elements. So again, and anyone that knows what this thing is, let us know. Mic patch, radio pit, radio 2. Alright, let's keep walking. So you'll see everywhere you go there's just these massive slabs of concrete. There would have been all these sorts of different buildings. You've got this building here which is original, so I'm told. So there's no access to that one there. I think it might be one of their workshops now. Also over here there's another building here which is again all sort of locked up. But interesting to see a lot of the construction. So a lot of this stuff here, I think this is wrought iron because it might have been locally, but then a lot of the buildings and stuff we saw were made out of aluminium. And apparently all of that aluminium was shipped in, either shipped in or flown in from Britain. Don't think we had an aluminium industry at the time. But again, please correct me if I'm wrong. And to the walking through here, I'll take you for a bit of a look later on. Off in the distance there is an Olympic-sized swimming pool. And again, you'll hear the stories from Robin. There was sort of, in areas, no expense paid in relation to making sure that the soldiers were well looked after. And then in other instances, it was a pretty tough life living out here. So, and again, it looks like there's quite a bit of machinery. There's lots of bits and pieces happening around here. I think they're still searching for lots of bits and pieces. There are just pits everywhere with lots of buried history, basically. And again, when you go out there, Robin will tell you a lot of the stories in relation to specific ones or bits and pieces of stuff they've still found. And so they're trying to bring some of the stuff that obviously is not radioactive out, so we can sort of preserve a lot of the history here. Big original flagpole. Wonder what this area would have sort of looked like in the day. Let's go see if there's any memorial here. It's got a bit of a kink in it. Whether or not the blast affected that one, I don't think so. Okay, it's in the shape of a big cross. Yeah, so I've asked if I can fly the drone in this area here, and the answer was no, which is fine. But when you go out, sort of out, there you go. We had services here. chapel, outdoor chapel. Thought there might have been some sort of plaque or something here. Alright, keep looking around. So all through here, sort of a few of the residence buildings, again machinery. This is the museum, so I'll give you a few quick looks. And there's a whole heap of sort of artifacts and whatnot sort of through the museum area. Not sure if this is a rocket launcher or a flare launcher. Again, please let us know. There's one of the, I think these were tracer rockets. I think they fired these off in the background. Basically behind where the atomic bombs were exploded. And this was, I suppose, gave them the ability to measure sort of the size of the blast and whatnot. And then over here, I think this one here was an instruments box. So there were all sorts of instruments. There is some ridiculous amount of copper cable out here. Robin was telling us it's just all over the place. Kilometres and kilometres and kilometres and kilometres of this stuff. So, but pretty crazy. And look at these metal boxes. Look how thick they were. It's like an inch thick. Crazy. So part of it again is used for current day machinery and whatnot. And then this building here. Actually, I won't take you in. I'll leave it as a surprise when you get here. You can suss it out. There you go. All sorts of drawings of the village and the layout. Alright guys, that's a quick look at the museum. So again, you got some old military hardware here, although I don't think that is that old. I think that's a bit more modern day. So, and again, what this vehicle is, let me know. I'm no military buff in any way, shape or form. Then over here you got some big water towers. I dare say there's some new water tanks on top, but that all looks like original construction. A lot of the steel from here, it appears to have come from Scotland. I noticed on bits and pieces of it. So what's this one here? Lark's Higher Steel Coy Limited, Scotland. There you go. So that appears to be on a lot of the steel here. So again, a bit of branding going back way back when. So this was all used to construct a lot of everything here. And I dare say in the distance, whether or not they're newer. So this is the water storage. And then you've got the diesel, you got diesel generators. So obviously we're out in the middle of nowhere, there's no mains to power, so everything's run by diesel or solar. That's the back of the museum there. And then we'll head off in the distance over here. So there's a couple of buildings here. I'm not sure which one was what, but there was, I think potentially whether or not these were officers' quarters, and then the building over on the left was the hospital. but we'll go check them out. And then you'll see sort of everywhere you go. And I'll pop up the map for you, but you can almost work out all of these places I'm walking, what buildings were here previously. And then what I'll do is this video in particular will be just on the village, and then there'll be another video where I take you out and you can have a look around everything else. So, a bit of modern day equipment, I dare say. But yeah, this one, I found probably this building the most interesting. So there's a couple of different entrances, but the one you want to get to is just around the side. Yeah, so we ended up spending quite a bit of time in here. Okay, a whole heap of bits and pieces out here. Oh, it's just a bomb. There you go, and again, all those buffs out there. What is this thing? There you go. Doesn't look like a bomb to me. You tell me. And again, I'll just give you a quick look inside so you can sort of get a feel for the place. And this was sort of open 24/7. So, yeah, lots of interesting photos and information through here. It's got that hospital feel about it. And then we ended up spending a lot of time in this room in particular. The light on. So there was, again, this was fantastic. You can sit here, watch videos, all lots of old videos back from the day. A lot of this information here was absolutely amazing. Having a read through some of this. British atomic tests in Australia, chronology of events. So basically everything's fully documented. Good to get hold of this. I mean, you just sort of go through, and again, just reading the first page, it's quite amazing. So it all kicked off in 1950. What was it called? Operation Hurricane. So, again, so much history here for both Australian and Aboriginal communities. Quick look there. But yeah, this was really super cozy. We had cuppers in here and we just watched a whole heap of movies. And again, I'll just give a quick look. So again, make your way down here yourself and sort of go check it out. Alrighty. A few photos back in the day. There's the pool. Actually, let's go check out the pool. There's the signs. We whack Maralinga that way. And TM 100 101. And again, when you go have the tour, you'll get a good indication of everything out here. And just all the drop zones was amazing. So we went out to all the drop zones, which was phenomenal. So, but it's been very, very interesting. And just all the little bits and pieces, all the trinium, vibranium, what's it called, Lionel? Trinitite. Yes, you'll learn lots about trinitite, and you'll find a heap of it out there from where the blasts happened, and sort of how it comes about. And there's only a couple of places in the world you'll find this trinitite, thankfully, I dare say, and you'll understand why when it sort of gets explained to you. But yeah, they ended up having this Olympic size swimming pool built. And guess what? It actually has a pit name, Pit 68U. So what that generally means is, I think something is buried under here in the swimming pool. So everywhere you go, there's all of these pits everywhere, where pretty much after everything they just buried absolutely everything. And the pits are all at various different sizes. So when I say sizes, I suppose widths as well as depths, depending on what had to go in there and how radioactive it was. They say this was a bit of a fountain back in the day. I'm saying back in the day too much. And then this is the view to our swimming pool. Decent size. But there's outcrops of buildings absolutely everywhere. Obviously the main village this is where the main action happened. But then when you go out to the blast sites, you'll see there's some amazing videos out in the blast sites, and some interesting stories from Robin as well. Alright guys, here you go. Here's one of the facilities. Again, no alcohol, so respect their wishes. So in this one here, it's a little bit smaller than the other one, but yeah, hot water, showers. Yeah, so it's basically a shipping container with hot water and showers, sink. So it's all pretty much covered, everything you need. This one's sort of nice and compact. And then off in the distance, this is the other one, which is slightly bigger. And then this one's sort of right next to the camp kitchen and the fire pit. So if you come over through here. So the camp kitchen is protected from the weather outside, but you've got fly screens sort of all around. So you can get a little bit of a breeze in there. And like I said, here's your fire pit. Epic fire pit. It's probably the bottom of an atomic bomb or something, who knows. Yeah, so nice big barbecue, wok burner, stainless steel benches, sink, cold water. Again, pretty basic. There's no utensils or anything like that. Obviously, if you're camping out here, you sort of bring your own. But yeah, all nicely covered. And then through here, again, this one is a slightly bigger facility. This has got 2 containers in there. So nice big open area. So you got all your lighting's all covered through here. And again, you've got a couple of switches. One's for the centre lights and the other one's for everything else. And again, these are a nice setup. Nice big shower area. Showers. Again, a couple of toilets. Basin. So again, everything you need. And then we ended up just camping out the back here. So this was sort of our setup for the couple of days, which worked out quite nicely. All right. All right, guys, so there were a variety of different accommodation options, actually. This was a nice one. So this must have been an old building and then they've restored it. So if we open here, there you go. Nice big spacious room, massive toilets, disabled access. Beautiful. It's quite really nice. Ceiling fans. And then this is sort of, actually I'll give you a tour through here. Okay, big massive communal area. Check this out. This is brilliant. That's huge. Urns, fryer, a couple of big stoves, microwaves, air fryers, massive TV, Bay Marie even, big entertaining, you got a bigger group. That's beautiful. And then this is sort of the outdoor area, tops it all off. That's brilliant. So if you don't want to slum it like we did in tents, you've got other options as well. And then there's a whole heap of portables, which I think are other forms of accommodation as well. So, but then these ones have sort of all of these sort of separate rooms. There you go. Toilets, showers. Immaculate condition. Oh yeah, single room. Perfect. Yeah, so it looks like there's a whole heap of single rooms as well. That's brilliant. Love the big communal kitchen. B0/1F. Oh, then there's more rooms on the other side. Okay. There you go. Yep, same sort of setup. All right guys, so that's me signing off. So it's been a very interesting experience. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And again, it might tick the boxes for certain people, might not tick the boxes for others, but I found it super interesting. And I think when I go away from here, I'll end up doing a lot more research, especially once I finish editing all these videos. So again, for myself personally, I'd highly recommend coming here and checking it out. It's again a very unique part of Australia's history and a very unique part of the world. There's not many places in the world where you can go and visit, you know, these nuclear testing sites and actually be at where the bomb was dropped. So, and again, I'm no warmonger in any way, but just a very interested in sort of what happened here. And the stories you get from Robin as you go around and do the tours are quite phenomenal. So, but yeah, go check it out. All the information's on the website. Again, we got here sort of just after 2 o'clock in the afternoon the day before. They greet you at the front gate, bring you into the village, give you a bit of a quick intro, and then sort of leave you to your own devices. Again, we settled in for the evening, had dinner and that. And then the next day up at 9 a.m, head off for the tour, go out to all the bomb sites and various other points of interest, and then from there sort of get back by sort of 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Super interesting out there. Like, this is interesting in the village, but when you get out there, especially all the stories, it's quite amazing. But yeah, that's it for me. We're going to head off onto our next adventure. Again, go back to the channel. There'll be a separate playlist on Maralinga, and then also there's the 5 Mates 3 Rigs One Hell of a Trip playlist, which has the entire trip from Yo to Woe. All right, guys, heading off. Thanks very much. And as per usual, like, subscribe and share around, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thanks. Bye.